Good morning, Kenna. I'm going to look over some of your photos and just give some comments back to you, some feedback. If you hear Skyla in the background, just ignore her. She's running around the house. This photo, I really like. I don't know where you place it in your story. Haven't looked at all the other stuff, but, after some hard work, my brief comment is these lines are slightly not straight up and down. You can also see the sofa here. I would try to just straighten it a little bit. You can also really see with the window, that's not straight up and down. It's a small thing. I don't think the slightly tilted adds to the image at all. But it's really cool, just these lines coming to her. The black and white works really well with it. I would maybe try to play with a crop that takes this black table out and just see if that works better. But other than that, yeah, just kind of straighten it and just try a different crop there. Other than that, it's a really cool image. And also think about your images if you want to do all of them in black and white or all of them in color, or if you do want to mix it up. There's no right or wrong answer. As long as a black and white one works within the color ones, I think it'll be fine. So let's see. Let's get your other ones. Cool. Very nice. The sawdust on the shoulder, sharp. It's a nice crop. I mean, we get what it is without, of course, seeing her whole face. We know it's a girl's shoulder and that she's been, working hard. It'll work nicely in there. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and I know I talked about this one before. Good job. It shows work, motion, something's going on, that the slow shutter speed adds to the image. It doesn't take away from it. There's definitely something going on here. And, nice job making sure that your background is sharp, because you don't want both things to have motion blur, because then it'll just look like a blurry image. But because this is sharp, it shows they're the ones moving and working. And this person not moving as much as this person kind of grounds it, or really shows what's going on, because we can kind of see he's obviously working, hand on a wire, pencil behind his ear, means business, whereas this person's kind of almost like he's giving him direction. There's still some story going on here. Same thing kind of with this one, show some motion, shows someone working, someone doing something, an activity. Had this one been just completely sharp, everything in focus, might not have worked quite as well. I probably wouldn't put these two together when you're doing your final photo story, but definitely works well. I might brighten this one a little bit. It looks a little drab to me. There's just not a lot of contrast or anything. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just contrast, not as much brightening. But play with that a little bit and see if that helps at all. And just, I don't know if you're on a tripod or not. I know you're trying to get that that movement. Just be careful if you are hand-holding that kind of 1/10 of a second. And you might have, it doesn't tell me here if your lens is a VR lens on your Nikon. VR is vibration reduction. Canon has IS, which is image stabilizer. So if it does have that, you're able to get away with hand holding at slower shutter speeds. If it doesn't, of course, younger people, we have steadier hands, take a breath, and you can get those. So that does all look very sharp. But also keep in mind, this 800 ISO, if you could get a lower ISO, and that F18, take that number down, it'll, all those things work together. So go from 800, 400, 200, 100, that's 3 stops. So then you can take, that was Skyla, you can take your shutter speed faster, or you go down 3 stops in your ISO, you can then go down 3 stops in your f-stop. So that would basically be like 11, 8, 5, 6. So you could shoot at 5, 6, and you're getting a better image quality. And remember, the image quality is just digital noise or film grain in film. It has nothing to do with pixelation. And you probably, like right now, we don't really see it. If you zoomed in on it, or if you printed it out at an 8x10 or a little bit larger, you would see it. I try never to shoot at above 800, and that was kind of more of a rule that came up with me more when I had not as good of a camera. Now that cameras have gotten better, ISO has gotten better, you can shoot at 1600 or higher, 3200, and you don't see as much noise, and that's only because the sensors and the cameras have gotten better. An older camera, I tried never to go above 800 if I could, because even at an 8x10 shooting at 1600, it doesn't look great. And there are filters that you can use in a software like Aperture or Lightroom that will denoise the image, and it just kind of blends all those things together and you don't see it as much. And then you can also sharpen the image so it doesn't, even if shooting at a higher ISO, you wouldn't see those things. And that's more for a different class. I'm not looking at those things now. I just want to make you aware of it. This one, okay, so I'm wondering, try a crop under here, because it looks like a jack or something back there. If we didn't see that jack, would that add to it, or do we like seeing that jack? But also, if we cropped that out, do we not see enough of the top of the chair to know it's a chair? I like the color a lot. It adds to kind of the rustic feel of this kind of rebuilding the house. And then the same thing with that chair back there. I don't know, I think it might be that it's getting a little busy in the background for me. A little bit of this stuff. Like, I want to focus on this. Almost as if this chair was simply sitting just on this kind of diamond-plated background thing here. And we get that. I don't know if this one would work in black and white, or if we like that kind of teal color. It is a cool chair, just kind of nicely distressed. Good depth of field. Yeah, so just maybe play around with the crop if that works better. If you're going back to this place, maybe position the chair slightly differently. Or, I don't know, maybe put the chair outside of... I haven't seen outside of this house that y'all are renovating yet. You know, that might be an interesting kind of thing. Or someone sitting on the chair. And with these photo stories, I'm really, really excited simply that you are taking weeks to do this and not trying to just accomplish it overnight. Because even with the full semester class, I have people that hear about the assignment on day one and they do the assignment in an hour the night before. I've seen many of those, so I like that you are taking plenty of time to complete this. And there's nothing wrong with, in your photo story, setting stuff up. Telling someone, you know, if they're taking a water break or something, taking this chair outside, hey, sit in this chair and drink your thing of water, and I'm going to just take some photos while you're sitting there. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're doing kind of a 100% journalistic style, even, you can still semi-direct people in what they do as long as you're not faking it. If that person would not drink water and not sit outside in a chair, well, then you're kind of faking something. But the photo story can be 100% faked as long as it kind of tells some sort of story, because there's kind of this journalistic style or kind of a creation style, because people do like the 7 deadly sins. Well, of course you're going to 100% set up those 7 deadly sins. That could be the photo story. So there's nothing wrong with kind of directing people in this scenario. Normally, if you're shooting for a magazine or a newspaper, you normally wouldn't like tell people what to do or where to go. As a photographer, you want to be invisible. But with this scenario, there's nothing wrong with kind of giving them a little bit of direction if you wanted to. This one's cool. Like I had said, make sure you do wide shots, medium shots, detail shots. This one's really cool. Gives a lot of story to what's going on here. I guess mainly because y'all are safety-wise, which if I was, working a saw or something, I would not have these on. Okay, so yeah, good depth of field. In terms of, we're focused only on here, we're not looking at here. But I wonder, because you're shooting a little bit wide, is that what gives the curve to this? Or is it just because there's a curve to that post? And it's good that you had a little bit of separation here. That works as well. And I hope you took a bunch of photos of this shot. And even like this, when I was saying, telling people what to do or recreating something, even if these things weren't here, if you grabbed them off the floor and set them up here to take the photo, there's nothing wrong with that. You made a good shot there. Okay, I think this one might work slightly better in black and white, just my opinion. It's a little busy for me because it looks like this is what's sharp, not this and not this board. So maybe there's another way to do this one. Because that almost seems more interesting, because that's probably going to be something you're replacing or redoing than that part right there. Something I've done before with photos kind of shooting up, put your camera on get your exposure, get it all ready to go, 100 ISO because you're going to lay the camera down, say f8 or, you could even do f22, get everything sharp. And then, your shutter speed just depends on those things. Put your timer on 10 seconds, lay your camera on the ground so it's on a soft or, a solid surface, and just walk away. And then let your camera shoot straight up into these boards. Try that sort of thing. I've done it all the time in like churches or cathedrals or a Capitol building. Those sorts of things. It looks really weird because, of course, you like set your camera down and that light's going off. It almost looks like the first time I did it, people like kind of scattered away like I was laying down a grenade or something. But try that sort of thing and just go straight up with it, maybe. And I don't know if it's as interesting as these lines that are here, but just try it and experiment with that. Okay, so I guess we're to the end here. So let me know if you have any questions. Of course, these are only my opinions. I am so sorry that Jeshua hasn't been getting back to you. But if you have any other questions about your assignments, let me know. If you would like someone else to critique any of your assignments or your photo story, I'm sure I can ask Grace or Jerry or Nikki D's around on campus, just to get some other input, because I know that helps immensely when you just get an outside eye that isn't my eye looking at some stuff, because someone might look at this and say, well, that's the best photo they've ever seen. So, good work on these. And just remember, with the photo story, okay, so what I expect of you to turn in on kind of the final day, you need kind of 10 to 20 or so images that are going to be your final images. But you have to bring to the class 20 to 30 images that we're going to put on those magnet boards in the Mac Lab, and then we're going to narrow them down to your best 15 to 20, and we're also going to help you arrange them. I hope you already have kind of an arrangement, but we might look at them and go, well, this one works better. Even if it's not in chronological order, we'll say, well, that one works better there because it's not two motion photos in a line, or it's, the story makes more sense or something. So the hands-on critiques help immensely. So your final thing, you need to turn in 20 to 30 printed out. If you have a question about where to print them out, let me know, because I feel like this is something you want to stick around in your portfolio. And then your final thing you're going to hand in is going to be 10 to 20 or so of your best kind of 4x6s. And the 4x6s should cost 10 to 20 cents a piece, so it shouldn't be that expensive or anything. Also, thank you for turning in your selfie with your book. I'm glad you're reading your book. I hope you're reading your book. Has great photos in there, and it just kind of, I got 20 books before I picked that one, so I hope you enjoy it. So let me know if you have any questions. Hope you're having a great summer. Have a great weekend. The only assignment, of course, for the weekend is to do your work on your photo story. So, don't think about anything else other than completing that, because it is a larger part of your grade. So let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you later. Bye.